Welcome to Opera and Me. I'm your host, Robert Mellon. This week we talk about the Studio Artist program. My guests are Anna Mandina and Symone Harcum. Symone was in the 2018 production of Jake Heggie's 3 Decembers. Anna was in 2 Studio Artist productions herself. In 2016, she was in The Medium by Minotti, and in 2017, she was in An American Dream by Jack Perla. I myself have also been a studio artist, having done the 2011 production of Cafe Vienna, the 2014 production of Gianni Schicchi, and the 2015 production of Trouble in Tahiti. Anna and I have also returned to do main stage roles. Anna came back to be the second lady in the 2019 production of The Magic Flute. I returned to play the roles of Don Cair in Carmen in 2016, and in 2018 I was Figaro in Le Nozze di Figaro, and in 2019 I was Papageno in The Magic Flute. You're not going to want to miss this interview, so sit back and enjoy. All right, welcome to this week's episode of Opera and Me. I have Anna Mandina and Symone Harcum on. The three of us, this is a very interesting discussion because over the last 10 years, one of us has been in every single studio artist production that has happened, except for 2. And those 2 were the 2010 and the 2019 productions. Every single one the three of us have covered in that decade. So if there's anyone that can talk about how important this program is, it's this triumvirate. So let's start from the get-go. Symone, I'm gonna lead you in with a question right here. You were in the production of 3 Decembers back in 2018, which I got the opportunity to watch. It was moving. It was incredible. The work you all did during that show was mind-blowing. Can you tell us why you think Opera Maine Studio Artist program is so important and so unique?
Opera Maine's program is, first of all, unique because of how small it is. How many, there were only 3 of us studio artists there, and I think Ray M was a guest artist. Mm-hmm. So the 2, Yazid and I, were the only studio artists there. And so it was a program that I think maximized what we could get out of it just because of, we were the focus of it. That on top of, Richard Gammon, who was our director for that show, come on. He was just so nurturing, and also he pushed me quite a lot out of my comfort zone, and I felt very safe and very challenged and also very successful. And those 3 things you don't always get at, you don't always get all 3 of those things at any young artist program.
Anna, you were in the 2016 studio artist production of The Medium, which was bone-chillingly awesome. And then the 2017 production of An American Dream, which I only got to see the video of, but was also very similar to Three Decembers in a super moving and really a real story you could latch on to. Both of those productions were fantastic. Anna, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think, Opera Maine Studio Artist Program, it's a great way to kind of begin your work in the professional opera business. I think, it's great for people who are finishing school or just getting started in the opera business because you keep learning and growing and perfecting your craft in a safe environment while also gaining that real world experience. I also think it's a great way to begin, a relationship with an opera company. It's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door and to get to know the administration and for them to get to know you. So, and also just the size, like you said, Symone, it's really nice to have that intimate attention to really feel comfortable to grow.
If I can tag on to what you guys were just saying, I think a really unique thing about the studio artist program in Maine that differs from a lot of young artist programs around the country is a lot of young artist programs around the country put you into a chorus scenario where you support the main stage production. Whereas here, you're not only supporting the main stage production, but you do get that own show where you get to star in, you get to be the center stage person. And I think that is like what you both had mentioned before is so important to get that experience, because jumping from chorus to main stage without having that kind of buffer scenario can be a little, I don't know, it could be a little daunting. It could be a little uncomfortable. And Opera Maine has given us the tools necessary to go out there and really be successful and represent the company all around the country. Anna, I'm going to give you the second question on the list. What impact did the Opera Maine Studio Artist Program have on you personally?
Yeah, so I definitely grew so much as a singer and an artist during my 2 summers in the studio artist program there. Being able to work with Richard, Symone, like you were saying, it was life-changing for me. He's a fantastic director, and he has a wonderful way of challenging you as a singer and as an actor, which I feel like is something we don't often see in the opera world. Which I wish we did, because we truly are telling a story. We are singing at the same time, but we're acting and portraying these characters and telling this story. So I really think he helped me with that. But he also has this way of leading you in a certain direction without telling you exactly what he wants, because he wants you to figure that out on your own. And I love that. But I also, there have been times where you try to do something and he's like, no, that's not what we're going to do. It's more like this. So when it doesn't work, he lets you know, which is really great. So he's a very specific type of director that I feel like I haven't encountered outside of Opera Maine. So that's really great. And then on the other hand of that, being able to work with Donna Vaughn in the main stage production is kind of the opposite in a way, because she is very specific and she knows exactly what she wants out of you. So it's really a great way to get to know director styles while learning from these amazing, accomplished individuals that truly care about you and helping you along in your career.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to cover a role? What was it like to shadow a singer? What was it like to take notes? And I don't remember if there was any cover runs or cover sing-throughs as well, if there's something you wanted to add upon that. So
when we got there to Maine, we jumped right into that studio artist show, and it was staged in a week. You know, we were there like we all day, every day, and it was just funny. The biggest shift I had to make was to realize, oh, there's another show about to start rehearsing. You know, and just that's also a great lesson, you know, having to be completely in all invested into the making of this show, and then still having something right on top of it. Just negotiating those things while being present for each of those. But I don't know, covering or, you know, learning the staging with Donovan directing as a cover is difficult because it is so very precise. And I've seen other directors like that. And so as a cover, you know, really trying to keep up with that quick process and the specificity of it, it was kind of daunting, but, you know, it's an experience that I think we all should have.
The studio artists have had opportunities to do master classes while they were in the programs. Can you talk a little bit about how a master class for a studio artist singer is important and helpful in your development?
Yeah, definitely. Both years while I was a studio artist, we were able to do a master class with Ron Rains, and that was really wonderful. Not only are master classes, you know, beneficial for you as a singer, it's wonderful to be able to watch other singers and hear their changes, or watch them, you know, watch something click for them and then be able to see it in front of you. Because sometimes it's harder when you're up there to really see how much progress you're making, but you truly learn from watching others as well. But another aspect of that is usually the master classes are, you know, there's a small audience. So it's hard to sometimes kind of tune them out and really do the work that you're trying to do. But it's also a really good way to kind of just let go and to just say, okay, well, people are watching me do weird things, but here we go. This is the process. You know, it's kind of a good way to just get over your own nerves or things you're holding back.
What are some of the funny or moving or memorable moments, or maybe one of each, that really stand out to you with your for your time with Opera Maine?
Well, yeah, I was, you know, since you sent the questions before, I was kind of thinking back on some memories. And my first summer we did the medium, and I specifically remember our mezzo-soprano who was singing Baba, the fortune teller. Her name's Leah Heater. I just remember watching her throughout the process, just kind of really go for it. And I mean, like you said, that show is very emotional, and there's a lot of different levels to the story. And so for me, I had just graduated from my master's program. And so this was one of the first professional gigs that I really had. And so she, you know, she was a more seasoned opera singer and definitely had more experience than me. And being able to watch her work with Richard and to really just like lose her mind in the last scene was just, thinking about it, I still get chills. So that was a wonderful, wonderful memory for me. But also when that same year we were doing Carmen, and the first time the orchestra played at the Sitzprobe, I just remember I like sat back in my chair like, oh, this is a professional orchestra. Like I was just such a kid, you know, like I had heard school orchestras and they were good, but then I would go to the symphonies and be like, wow. And then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm performing with an orchestra that level. That's crazy. So that. Also, this past summer, Bobby, when we did the Magic Flute, The funniest part about that whole situation, I still think back and I don't know how we did it, as I was one of the three ladies, and we had these giant bird heads and these 5-inch stiletto heels that we were just moving around the stage synchronized, and we got it down. And I still, like, I can't believe that we did it, because we looked hilarious and it was quite dangerous in those really tall shoes. But that was really funny. Being a part of that, I'll never forget.
Yeah, so it was funny that you were talking about Leah Heater. She was singing Amneris. She was going to debut Amneris at Virginia Opera when all of this stuff hit, and that show got canceled, and I was covering Aida, and she was talking about going for it. And the thing about that is I was kind of in the same position as you were in that at Opera Maine, because I had just gotten out of school. And it was Rayanne Bryce Davis, she was Maddie, the mom in our show. And being on stage with that amount of fire and, at my level, especially in my, my small amount of experience, was really, really like crazy. It was invigorating. It was scary. And we, B and Maddie clashed all the time. And when she would turn around and come at me, I would sometimes be like, wait a minute, hold on, cut. Cut. And being put to that task of matching the energy that's on stage was crazy. But we had a lot of crazy times during that show, and she was supposed to be really excited about seeing the Golden Gate Bridge and being on it. And I was like, it's the Golden Gate Bridge. And Richard was like, scream it, Symone. And I'm like, the Golden Gate Bridge. So I'm every time I have to be happy, overly excited on stage, I just think about that moment where Richard is in front of me with his arms out saying, do it. I'm like, man, it takes me out of my comfort zone, but that was hilarious, And I mean, just the building of those relationships, just every day, getting coffee with Yazid and things like that. And you were talking about those master classes. What I remember about that master class that I was in is that it was towards the end of my time there. And the audience in the master class were all people who were basically the Opera Maine community. And so they're observers and lovers of this art. And at that point, they had gotten to know you. And so it was a much different situation than I had ever been in a masterclass, because you're there in front of teachers and other singers who are very critiquey, and it can make you really uncomfortable. But you look out over that audience at Opera Maine, people that you've seen over these few weeks and have just come to enjoy. And that made a really, really just a beautiful setting for me in that time.
Just so that everybody out there knows, the studio artists are often asked to come back and do the galas, the serenades. I know I've sung a couple of galas. Anna, you've sung a gala. Symone, you were supposed to sing this gala this summer before things in the can. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm sure they're going to have you back.
They've already reached out. They were like, don't worry.
That's great. That's great. But it's these sorts of opportunities that this company is so wonderful about bringing back their studio artists to highlight their upcoming season and promote the company. I think it's a great thing. Anna, Symone, thank you so much for joining me today and doing this. I hope you had as much fun as I did. It was great to laugh a little bit and reminisce about good times. So thank you again.
Thanks.
And that'll do it for this week's episode of Opera and Me. Thank you to Anna and Symone for joining me. Don't forget, tune in next week when we have legendary bass baritone James Morris on the program. I can't tell you how excited I am about this, as I'm sure you are. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Opera Maine. Lastly, Opera Maine Studio Artists program has been a success since 1996, thanks to the vision, talent, and tireless energy of its founding director, soprano and educator, Ellen Chickering. Ellen passed away from cancer this spring. She was beloved by everyone. and it is a huge loss to the company on many levels. But the legacy of her work and commitment to young singers will live on. Thank you, Ellen, for everything you did for Opera Maine. To play us out this week is a clip from the 2014 production of Gianni Schicchi. This is an ensemble section. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you when I see you.
Daddy, no, I love her. My mother is your bride. Brava, old woman, brava. For a dowry of sacrifice, my daughter and your nephew.